The scream cut through the quiet afternoon like a sniper's shot. I was inside our new home, adjusting the baby monitor, when I heard it. Sharp, terrified, maternal. It was my wife, and it came from the front porch. I dropped everything and ran. Before the door even opened, I heard another voice, a shrill, commanding voice laced with smug superiority. "You don't deserve to raise a child like this. This neighborhood has standards." I flung the door open. There she stood, Karen, middle-aged, bleach blonde hair in a tight bun, pink tennis outfit like she'd just come from a country club audition. And beside her, hovering inches from my wife, was a clipboard and a trembling finger aimed at our week-old daughter swaddled in my wife's arms. "You're endangering her," Karen barked. "You brought this baby here without clearance. You're violating Clearbridge HOA bylaws by raising an unregistered infant in a covenanted property." My wife clutched our daughter tighter. She was shaping, half in tears. "I'm going to ask you once," Karen snapped. "Hand her over. I'm calling Child Protective Services." The world narrowed. Every heartbeat felt like thunder behind my ribs. I stepped out onto the porch, and Karen finally turned and saw me. Something shifted in her face. My size, my posture, the coiled stillness. It didn't match the image she'd built of us, quiet newcomers, likely pushovers. She'd assumed I was just some passive husband. She hadn't counted on me being a Navy SEAL, not former, not retired, active duty, on temporary leave. And she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. "Back away," I said quietly. Karen opened her mouth, probably to start one of her infamous HOA rants, but I took one step forward and she immediately flinched. "I said," I repeated, "back away." My voice was ice, the kind of command voice forged from 1,000 hours under pressure, in gunmetal waters, through broken doors in hostile terrain. Her mouth hung open, words lost. My wife's eyes were still glassy, but behind them I saw relief. Karen stepped backward, just an inch, then two. She glanced around, maybe looking for backup, or maybe realizing, for the first time, that she was deeply alone on this porch. "I have every right," she said shakily. "I'm the president of this HOA. I have access to legal records. You filed no notification of residency changes. You didn't submit birth documentation. That child may not even be—" "She's ours," I snapped. "Born last week, in our home, on our land, which, by the way, isn't governed by your HOA. Karen blinked, thrown. "What?" "Our property predates your development by 10 years. We confirmed that before we bought it. No fees, no bylaws, no authority from you." "That's not possible. I oversee every—" "You oversee nothing here," I growled. "This isn't a condo complex. It's a private residence, and if you threaten my family again—" I took a step closer, letting her see the cold behind my calm. "You won't be dealing with a warning." Karen staggered backward off the porch, mumbling something about attorneys and neighborhood safety. She got in her Lexus and drove so fast she clipped her own trash can. I turned to my wife. She collapsed into me, our daughter nestled safely between us. "She tried to grab her, said babies had to be vetted by the HOA, that she had the power to remove them." I held them both and didn't say a word. But inside, something snapped, and I decided Karen wasn't just going to get a warning. She was going to get a reckoning. The next morning, I filed a report with every federal, state, and county authority I had connections to. CPS, they had no active case against us. Police, they already had a trespass report from our ring footage. But the real hammer came from the DOJ. Because as it turned out, Karen had a habit of overreaching. A very public habit. We weren't the first family she'd targeted. 2 years ago, she'd harassed a couple for having an unapproved backyard birth. She tried to claim their child had to be DNA tested to ensure citizenship. She'd also made dozens of calls to child services over the years, many of them targeting mixed-race families or veterans. Complaints dismissed, but patterns noted. I made a few phone calls. My CO made a few more, and within a week, Karen's entire reign began to crumble. A judge issued a restraining order. She was barred from coming within 500 feet of our property. The HOA board, terrified of being caught in the crossfire, convened a special vote to remove her as president. A leaked copy of the porch footage landed online. It went viral. The image of Karen standing on my porch at 3 p.m. screaming about unauthorized infants became a meme. But it didn't end there, because Karen, cornered, fought back. She filed a lawsuit, claimed emotional damage from the hostile confrontation, said my military aggression had traumatized her. That was a mistake, because discovery works both ways. And when her phone was subpoenaed, they found everything. Text messages planning fake CPS calls, emails to HOA board members demanding investigations into the family with the military guy, voice memos of her talking about how to scare them into leaving. The case was dropped, then reversed. She wasn't just dismissed, she was charged with harassment, false reporting, attempted kidnapping. Her mugshot ran on the local news for 3 days. She lost her job at the local planning commission. Her husband filed for divorce. The house foreclosed. Karen was done. And our daughter? Safe. Smiling. Surrounded by the warmth of neighbors who came forward in waves to apologize, bring meals, offer help. One of them even planted a rose bush beneath our mailbox with a small tag that read, "Welcome home, little one." Every time I water it, I think about that day on the porch. The day someone thought she could steal my family. Thought a clipboard and a title could intimidate a Navy SEAL. Thought my wife, my daughter, and our home were just items she could control. She thought wrong. Because the only thing more dangerous than a man trained to eliminate threats is one protecting his newborn child. Thanks for watching this heartwarming tale from Pixar Tales. If the story touched your heart or made you think, don't forget to like, comment, and share it with someone who needs a little magic today. Your support means the world and helps us keep bringing these stories to life. Subscribe for more unforgettable moments, and we'll see you in the next tale.